Think about a cake that looks extremely delicious, made with the best ingredients, decorated with the sweetest fruits, filled with your favorite cream. You can't control yourself and take a bite. However, you realize that it doesn't have a taste. That's impossible. You take another bite, but nothing changes. It is so tasteless that it even makes you uncomfortable. It didn't seem as such though. Then you look at the people around you, the people who eat the same cake you do. They get carried away with each bite. They say that they never had a better cake than this in their lives. You think that there must be a problem and take another bite, but no, nothing. It tastes like you are biting a newsprint paper. You get so jealous of other people. You envy that they get the taste that you cannot. Nevertheless, you smile and say it was great while you are trying to finish the cake that turns into the dust in your mouth. This was the definition of anhedonia, not getting any pleasure, that nothing has any meaning, neither the cake nor the coffee or the conversations you make. A deep condition of apathy, numbness, one of the basic symptoms of major depression. That was someone who experienced this condition with the example of the cake. That person who has been fighting with this condition all their lives at this. For the last 7 years, I only experienced some little sparks of emotion. Other than that, I almost feel nothing. There are no aims I have that I could mention, and I don't want anything because I know the outcomes will not satisfy me. If I need to describe my life with one word, I would say cold. Everything I look at, everything I do looks cold, feels cold. This feeling might seem familiar to most of us. Most people experience this in different time periods of their lives. However, we are talking about a condition of apathy here, lasted longer than you can remember. Let's take a look at what we are really talking about when we are mentioning anhedonia and some solutions for it. Like I mentioned, many people might lose interest for the things they used to enjoy before their lives. Anhedonia increases this level of apathy to extreme levels. It makes it impossible to enjoy that you love before, like music, food, activity, or friends. It might occur along with schizophrenia, addiction, Parkinson, and depression. In some cases, it is the basic reason of the interest for extreme sports. It is the instinct to have pleasure. Naturally, understanding the reasons and nature of the anhedonia is difficult as much as understanding other emotions, since the connections of our brain is equally complex and grift. When we say anhedonia, we are not talking about having less pleasure while eating chocolate. We are talking about a severe problem which occurs in the reward mechanism that lies beneath. Therefore, there could be an issue in the parts of reward mechanism consisting of interest level, motivation, expectation, hopes, calculating the necessary effort, and the like, which are individually complex. We need to understand this here. People with anhedonia can also participate in the activities with other people and can enjoy to some extent. However, the reward mechanism functions quite differently here. Let's explain with a simple example what I'm talking about when I say reward mechanism. When we do something and enjoy it, automatically we want to do it again. Like a chocolate we eat for the first time. We want to eat it again if we enjoy it so much. However, if the price of the chocolate is $100, we hesitate a little. Or when we find out that it is bad for our health. Yet if the chocolate is completely healthy and free, we do not hesitate a moment. We get up and walk to the fridge to get it. We wouldn't be lazy to do it. However, if that chocolate is a bus drive away, we might give up when we calculate the effort it would take to have it. The distance couldn't be an issue for somebody, that no matter how far away the chocolate is. But for many, it is not worth it if you need to travel through a state to get it. We decide our most actions and make the choices in our lives based on this effort and reward ratio, for most of the time without even realizing it sometimes. It is thought that a part of the area in the brain called basal cores are responsible for such actions and decisions. This area called nucleus accumbens, also known as reward center. So naturally, anhedonia is related to that area in the brain. However, nothing is limited with only one area in the brain. It is thought that prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for planning and personality, amygdala, which is responsible for emotions and decisions, and insula, which is related to the conscience and ego, have a part in anhedonia. Especially prefrontal cortex is the area that should be checked first when it comes to anhedonia, since it is responsible for calculating the award and price ratio and motivation. At this point, neurotransmitters are analyzed as well, which is named neurotransmitters. Naturally, dopamine hormone becomes prominent since it is quite active in the terms of reward center. There are even a correlation between dopamine deficiency and anhedonia. And yet, it is not the only answer in such a complex structure since dopamine deficiency leads to different results in different areas of the brain. Serotonin, opioid, and an amino acid called GABA, which is responsible for transmitting nerves in central nervous system, have also part in anhedonia. It is observed in a study that patients with anhedonia and depression has GABA and opioid deficiency as well. Another interesting correlation is the relationship between inflammation and depression. Yes, sometimes it is observed that people with high inflammation in their bodies might develop depression as well. The main chemicals which cause that increase are C-reactive proteins known as cytokine and CRP. It is observed an increase in CRP in blood tests that belong to the people with inflammation. It is said in a study made in 2015, which is published in Molecular Psychiatry Journal, that there is a correlation between anhedonia and CRP level. So, it is realized by the researchers that this is an occurring phenomenon. For instance, cytokine, a chemical we faced in COVID crisis as well. It is the answer that our immune system gives in the face of viruses and attacks. However, that answer could lead to other problems as well sometimes. According to the experts, cytokines are the reason of people with COVID ending up in an intensive care. The result of the immune system that attacks to the lungs. It uses these cytokines as the arms of offense. Above all this, the secretion of cytokines, sensitivity for pain, fatigue, and the loss in the sense of taste might occur going parallel with depression. So these cytokines might lead to anhedonia sometimes. So we have a remarkably complex phenomenon with physical factors as well. For instance, it is thought that the medicines which are used in the treatment for depression might cause anhedonia at the same time. Anhedonia might be overlooked in the treatment of depression. However, there are some medicines developed to be a remedy for anhedonia as well. One of the obstacles in the treatment of anhedonia is the reluctance to get treatment, and yet it is diagnosed and realized better than the past. The first thing to be done to see an expert, since getting pleasure is one of the basic parts of a complete and happy life. Being happy is a result of the food you have, the places you visit, the people you meet, experiences you have lately. It is more meaningful when these experiences give you emotions. It is clinically known that happy people live longer. Some of us need to learn that from scratch. Yes, sometimes you need to learn being happy when others do it so naturally. The most important thing is to know that it is all worth it. Until we meet again, stay healthy and happy.